My friends, the whole world believed that supercarriers were doomed to extinction. The narrative of the last 10 years dictated that Chinese hypersonic missiles and Iranian drone swarms had turned these colossal machines into mere floating targets worth billions of dollars. But Pentagon military intelligence does not accept obsolescence. It orchestrates the transformation. And what the United States Navy has just completed on the deck of the USS Theodore Roosevelt is not just a simple software update. They have redesigned the laws of physics and maritime warfare. The aircraft carrier is no longer a ship. It has just evolved into a robotic mothership. This, my friends, this changes the balance of power in the Pacific and the Middle East. The USS Theodore Roosevelt, a giant of the Nimitz class, has officially become the first nuclear supercarrier in history to fully integrate the Unmanned Aerial Warfare Center, the UAWC, for full operational use. This is the new digital brain of the fleet, and pay attention to the tactical impact of this. While the mainstream media discusses the effectiveness of cheap plastic drones bought on the black market and launched by militias, the United States is integrating an autonomous command center inside a floating nuclear reactor. The world thought that the steel dinosaurs would suffocate because of the new technology, but the Americans proved that the alpha predator of the oceans has just found a new way to hunt. And for you to understand the panic that this mutation causes in Beijing and Moscow, we need to look into the anatomy of this machine. Don't treat the USS Theodore Roosevelt as a transport ship. It's a true cathedral of war. We're talking about 100,000 metric tons of raw military steel cutting through the oceans, powered by 2 nuclear reactors that provide virtually unlimited energy. It's a piece of sovereign American territory moving at over 50 kilometers per hour, carrying a floating city of 5,000 souls. Check out the level of armor. It's not sailing defenseless. This cathedral is crowned with layers upon layers of anti-missile defense. From the brutal rapid-firing phalanx cannons to the Sea Sparrow interceptor missiles designed to obliterate any threat that dares to cross its airspace. But pay attention to the geography of war. The mothership never, under any circumstances, sails alone. The non-expert media only focuses on the size of the aircraft carrier and ignores the lethal escort surrounding it. The USS Theodore Roosevelt is the king piece on the board, and around it, the Pentagon raises an impenetrable protective bubble hundreds of kilometers in diameter. It's the feared Carrier Strike Group, the Aircraft Carrier Battle Group. We're talking about a 3-dimensional wall of steel, silicon, and uranium. And what is this wall made of, you ask me? Well, my friends, immediately in front and on the flanks of the aircraft carrier glide the Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruisers and the Allerberg-class destroyers. These ships are equipped with the Aegis combat system, the brain of anti-air defense that so far has not been surpassed by any enemy of the United States. And if China or Iran fires a barrage of missiles or a swarm of drones, the Aegis system tracks hundreds of targets simultaneously in space and fires interceptors that pulverize the threat in the stratosphere. Before it even scratches the paint of the mothership, they're not just shields. Their vertical tubes are packed with Tomahawk missiles ready to devastate enemy territory, and the siege doesn't end on the surface. Look at the level of orchestration. Hundreds of meters below the waves, in absolute darkness, hunting invisibly and silently, nuclear attack submarines, usually from the Los Angeles or Virginia classes, orbit. The job of this underwater phantom is to sweep the depths and torpedo any Russian or Chinese submarine that dares to attempt an ambush. It's a perfect dome of annihilation, covering space, air, the surface, and the depths. But the real American asymmetric advantage isn't just in the uranium in the reactor or the titanium in the hulls. The advantage is in time. Yes, my friends, the mastery of the seas is a science forged in fire, steel, and blood. The American Navy has been operating aircraft carriers since 1922 with the historic USS Langley. It's been over 100 years of uninterrupted doctrine, with mistakes paid for with the lives of pilots and sailors, and tactics refined during World War II, the Cold War, and in the Middle East. China may even build colossal shipyards and use industrial 3D printers to print aircraft carrier hulls one after another. But they can't print a century of combat experience. The DNA of complex naval warfare is in the blood and brains of the American crew. A lethal choreography of frantic takeoffs and landings that no autocratic rival has mastered yet. And before dissecting how this mothership will suffocate the enemy in their own territory, here's a direct message to our front line. If you think this geopolitical topic is important and want more Brazilians to have access to this level of intelligence, support this video now. Use the like button, the super thanks, which is down here. Because we don't depend on the establishment, we depend on strong-minded people like you. Now, good people, follow me. The digital brain is installed and the American Navy is preparing for its new incarnation.
Receber o seu novo predador.
The MQ-25 Stingray drone. And this is where our metaphor becomes lethal. If the aircraft carrier is the mothership, the MQ-25 is the long arm. Because until now, the manned F/A-18 Super Hornet fighters had to spend a massive portion of their flight hours and their own fuel just to refuel other fighters in the air. It was a brutal tactical waste. The MQ-25 Stingray takes over this role. It's a tanker drone, stealthy and autonomous. Visualize the tactical scene with me. The ocean is dark. The silence of the flight deck is broken by the roar of the steam catapults. The Stingray is launched. It flies autonomously to the edge of enemy territory and waits. The Super Hornet fighters take off soon after. Light, loaded to the maximum with missiles and precision bombs without worrying about the fuel tank. They meet the drone in the middle of the night, refuel, and proceed to the target. This means that the range of the American carrier air wing has just doubled. We're talking about projecting lethal force over 1,850 kilometers away, 1,000 nautical miles. And then you ask me, but Shimon Oliveira, what does this actually do in practice? My friends, this outright nullifies China's carrier killer missiles like the infamous DF-21D. If the USS Theodore Roosevelt can attack from a distance far beyond the maximum range of China's coastal batteries, Beijing's anti-access bubble simply bursts. The long arm strikes the jugular before the enemy can even see the mothership. And if you think the big threat to the West is Chinese shipyards churning out ship hulls like they're toys, wait until you understand the tactical humiliation that happens when American experience meets this artificial autonomy in the middle of the ocean. This integration pushes the autocratic axis into what I call the global penicrodome. No one says this, but the contrast in capabilities is brutal. And just from what I've told you so far, we've already earned your like. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell because it takes a lot of work to make this. My friends, Iran tries to project power by choking commercial routes with cheap drones powered by lawnmower engines. Russia can't even keep its only aircraft carrier Admiral Kuznetsov out of dry dock without it catching fire. China, the great dragon of the East, holds military parades and churns out ships, but its admirals have never fought a real naval war. They have never coordinated the chaos of a flight deck under enemy fire. And while in Beijing, the generals nervously calculate the range of their land-based missiles in the United States, naval intelligence has already integrated systems developed by the legendary skunk works of Lockheed Martin. The MDCX system, multi-domain combat system, it's not some video game remote control setup, it's pure autonomy. Artificial intelligence cross-references the data, calculates the routes, and controls the flight through ultra-low latency satellite links. It's the machine thinking through war, processing variables in milliseconds, launched from the deck of a nuclear-powered carrier. It's technological supremacy demanding its price. And pay attention, we're entering a turbulent period. The establishment hates those who translate raw reality, and they can at any moment retaliate and block this channel. We will not operate in the dark. We have just activated our emergency backup channel. If this signal goes down, our mission remains intact. The name of the channel is Blend Asuamente. Yes, my friends, the QR code is on the screen right now and the actual link is pinned in the first line of the description and in the pinned comment. Subscribe now and secure your spot in our bunker digital. Hurry over there, don't miss it. The armchair critics and headline-chasing analysts love to point out that the MQ-25 project has faced delays, that full operational capability has been pushed to the year 2029. They call this a failure. They don't understand the engineering of war. The year 2029 is not the result of incompetence. It's the absolute rigor of those who don't accept catastrophic failures on the battlefield. Think about the extreme physics of this operation. Imagine trying to land an invisible drone without a human pilot to feel the aerodynamic feedback on the controls. On a steel runway less than 100 meters long, which is moving forward, swaying from side to side, and going up and down on 3 different axes, in the middle of a nighttime storm in the Pacific Ocean. A millimeter of error in the algorithm means an explosion, the loss of billions of dollars, and human lives taken on the deck. The tests that have already connected the drone to the control of the USS George W. Bush and the systems of the USS Abraham Lincoln prove that the Navy is taming the chaos step by step. The Pentagon's strategic vision for the 2030s is terrifying for any rival. A carrier air wing made up of more than, look at that, 60 unmanned aircraft. The enemy will no longer face tired humans, but instead tireless autonomous swarms refueled in the air, orchestrating a total siege. The United States Navy is not just defending itself, it is creating the tools to suffocate the enemy in their own backyard without risking its pilots' lives. And if what the USS Theodore Roosevelt is testing today is already causing panic in military circles in Beijing and Moscow, wait until you understand the next phase of this evolution. The Nimitz-class Theodore Roosevelt is just a transitional testbed. What's coming out of American shipyards at this very moment is the Ford-class Supercarrier. We're not just talking about a bigger hull. We're talking about a structure that comes out of the factory with 23 new disruptive technologies built directly into its nervous system. The new Ford-class nuclear reactors generate almost 3 times more electrical power than the previous class. And do you know why they need so much energy? It's not just to power the new electromagnetic catapults. It's because these new war cathedrals were designed from the very first steel plate with a brutal purpose: to house, carry, and launch swarms of drones. The Ford class was already built to be the ultimate mothership. It was designed from the start to integrate autonomous drones and massive digital brains. They're preparing entire decks, not just for human-piloted fighters, but for tireless robotic squadrons that take off in networked formations coordinated by artificial intelligence to saturate and destroy the air defenses of any nation on the planet. It's the absolute fusion between the age-old nuclear power and the relentless digital brain of the future. My friends, the mothership is in the water and the long arm is already calibrating its sensors. The era when technology tried to wipe out the steel giants is over. Now technology works for them. And for those of you who have read between the lines of this invisible war and understand the weight of what is being forged on the seas, the time for our verdict has come. Go down to the comments now and type the 2 keywords that define the doctrine of supremacy of this century: mothership and long arm. I repeat, mothership and long arm. Show the system that you understand the playing field. Because the war of the future doesn't ask for permission, it demands preparation. Geopolitical naivety costs countries. Intellectual naivety costs you your freedom. Military survival and the survival of your business operate under exactly the same brutal rules. What the United States Navy understood is that those who do not project long-range force are inevitably swallowed by their rivals. And in global chess, lacking long reach spells the death of your fleet. In the free market, if you're an entrepreneur or a leading expert in your field, not projecting your digital authority is a swift death sentence by suffocation. And what hurts the soul of an elite professional the most is knowing that you master your craft, that you deliver the best, have the greatest knowledge, but still remain invisible. While mediocre competitors dominate the algorithm and make millions, you're operating like a ship without radar. You need to become the mothership of your own niche. Building undeniable authority requires narrative intelligence and lethal distribution. With 50 million views per month here on social media, we've proven on the battlefield that your identity cannot be outsourced. The owner has to lead from the front, and if you want to build your reach and break through this invisibility, the time is now. Come break through the bubble with me on August 16th. I will host a fully in-person immersion here at my studio in Curitiba, but I suffered with the reality. The operation is limited and there are only 2 seats left, and when the last one is filled, the steel door closes for good. QR code on the screen. The secure link is in the first comment and in the description. Click now and I'll show you how to break through this bubble that's holding you back. And a fantastic new series about war just came out on a streaming service. The integration between the War of the Future and World War I is happening right now in Ukraine, and those of you who follow me know that very well. And over on our channel with tips about series and movies, I left a list for you to check out with series and movies without whining, without culture wars, that tough-minded people can just click on and enjoy with their families, so go check it out. Link in the description, pinned comment and card. And like I said at the beginning, if you want to sponsor this video so more people can see it, use the like button, use the super thanks down below. You can also become an exclusive member of the channel and get early access to our videos. And if you're an elite analyst who wants to stay ahead of the crowd, yes. Click and come join our Bunker de Inteligencia. There are more than 3,000 elite analysts who fund what we bring here for you. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications and like the video. It takes a lot of work to make. Shield your mind, yes. Shield your mind. I'm Shimon Oliveira and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.